Hello and welcome back to the garden. If you're new here, my name is Karla and this is my channel. Um, it's been a while since I did a video. It's been a while since I've been able to get out in the garden because of the rain. It's a little cloudy today, but I think I'm going to be able to get some work done. So I decided to grab the camera and take you guys out with me. Most of what I'm doing today is just cleaning because I have a lot of plants that have gotten too much water and they're dying. The last three months have not been very good. Yes, the rain is good, but it's killing a lot of my plants. So basically I'm out here trying to get ready for the fall garden, getting rid of all the things that are dying, get some more plants in, because here in Southeast Texas we can grow quite late into the year. So I'm hoping I can get a fresh crop of tomatoes and some more melons and everything that I put in the garden for spring. I'm going to replant once I get the garden cleaned. So come on along with me and hopefully we can get a lot done today. So let's get started. So it just stopped raining and we've been getting showers off and on for about 3 days now after not getting any rain for over 5 months. So I wanted to just grab the camera and show you guys the difference a little rain makes. The rosella has grown about maybe 4 inches and it's starting to put on fruit. I did lose a lot of flowers, but there are so many starting to grow. And this is just after 3 days of nice, gentle rain. It's spilling all out into the walkway. It's growing so well. So I am beyond happy about that because rosella is my main crop for making tea during the winter. Now, the okra has struggled a lot during the drought. So what I did was I cut it. You see here? I cut it right back down to the leaves, the lower leaves. And can you see here how green and fresh that is? This was cut maybe 5 days ago. And it is sprouting and putting on new leaves, which means I will begin to get new fruit. That over there is also okra. I won't walk way over there, but I cut it back really well and I expect it to do the same. My Rose of Sharon is flowering and it has put on, I don't know, maybe an inch or two of new growth since the rain. It's late in the evening, so the flowers are starting to close, but isn't that beautiful? And it doesn't, it's wet, so the flowers are kind of heavy. But here, while there is weeds growing, I had placed some seeds in here, some mustard seeds, and as you can see, they are starting to do very well. These are a few older mustards that are going to seed, but they are really starting to stand up and everything was starting to look like it was dying. So while it's not as beautiful as the garden usually is, we are putting on a lot of new growth just because of the rain we got. Here are the cayenne peppers, and as you can see, we're just exploding with flowers. Now these are the beds that I would water with city water every other day, but city water is no replacement for God's water. Here's a fresh little pepper coming on. And then if we go down here, look at how well this perpetual spinach is doing. It is beautiful. Now it does have, I think that's flea beetle holes maybe. There is some damage, but the leaves are so firm and the plant is standing up so tall just because of the little rain we got in the last 3 days. We go this way. The beans were doing fairly well, but they have put on a lot of growth. There's a lot more flowering happening. So tomorrow we are supposed to, today is Friday, tomorrow we are supposed to start being hot again, and the rain is supposed to go away, but hopefully that means the bees will come out and get everything well pollinated. I'm holding on to this little plant because I think it's goldenrod, and I'm trying to see what it's gonna do, because I would like to get some seeds from it if it is. And then if we come around here, the banana tree is starting to look better. I don't think I'm going to get any fruit this year because it's gotten so late in the year. But what's important to me is that the plants survive the drought. And so I believe we are going to achieve that. This canna lily has been in this bucket for about 4 months because I pulled it up and actually forgot it was there. But if we go up, the rain with it in the bucket caused it to flower. That shows the importance of rain. If we turn around in here, this is one of my grow out areas. The kale, there's a little sweet potato down in here. There's kale. Back there I have quite a bit of young lemongrass plants because my lemongrass died last year, so I had to replant, and I bought some seeds from Baker Creek, and so that's wonderful the way that they're growing. Down here now, the rain just stopped, so everything is looking beat up a little bit, but these are buncheon onions that I transplanted 2 days ago. I had grew them all in one little container and I separated them, and so they look a little beat up right now, but I think they're going to stand up tall and bounce back, and everything's going to be wonderful. On the end here, all of this growth, these are lima bean plants. All of this extra growth that you're seeing here, that's due to the rain, because this plant was really struggling, and it's really growing. Sorry about that, a plane flew overhead, a really big plane, but this lima bean plant is really taking off. It's very late in the evening, so I'm not going to stay out here long. I need to close up my chicken run, but I am just so pleased, and I feel the drizzle, so the rain might not be over, and if it's not, I am okay with that. I really wish it would just continue to rain for a good while, because although it's helping, it's still very dry if you dig deep enough. These are my asparagus fronds, and they're looking a little beat up, but I'm sure they're enjoying the rain. And if we come around here, this here is a chiplin. I know I'm saying that wrong. I have a southern tongue, and there's a lot of things I can't pronounce right, but it's flowering beautifully too. It had no flowers on it, and it was struggling just to stay alive. So look how big it has gotten. Looks like a bush now. And here are some more mustards that were in the ground from probably March, and I just never pulled them out. They fought through the drought, and so now they really just look beautiful. Everything has grown so much just because of those few inches of rain. I wish I would have put had a way to figure out how much rain actually fell. But hopefully it's not over, because everything is just puffing up and standing tall. These are those young cowpeas I put in about 2.5 weeks ago. And see this? That's new growth. Can you see the difference of the old and the new? And if you look down in there, it's doing so well. So well. I need to pull out these. These are my seeds for my eggplants. See how yellow they're becoming? So tomorrow when I get up, I'm going to come out here and cut all of these. But the plants are still flowering, still putting on new fruit. And I think I have enough seed for next year. So I'll get that off the seed. I'll get the seeds off of there and see if I can get it to do one more big flush of edible fruit before winter. And that big plant, that's Jerusalem artichoke. If you look at those back there, they're starting to flower, which is a good sign, because like I said, before the rain, nothing was flowering. Nothing was trying to produce any kind of fruit. It was just, everything went into survival mode, and I was able to keep things alive, but that was about it. This is my sweet potato patch. In the video I did last week, I showed you how I bury the sweet potato vine to get maximum production. And as you can see, this is the area where I buried them, and how full that has gotten just because of the rain. You can't even see the ground anymore. And this one Seminole pumpkin that's in there is trying to flower, and it wasn't flowering before. So like I said, this rain has been a true godsend. So it's starting to drizzle again, and it's getting dark, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in, and we'll take a deeper look at the garden tomorrow, because it's supposed to be a very pretty day tomorrow. And so look at that, how pretty that is. That's a red mustard that's starting to go to flower, but the leaves are just so healthy since the rain. I know I keep going on and on about the rain, but when you haven't had rain in 5 months and you slowly watch your plants struggling and dying, it's just beautiful to see all this new growth. And like I said, I don't know if you can see it, but it is starting to drizzle again. So thanks for listening to me ramble, and I see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so now that I got those tomato plants out, I have some little tomatillo plants. They're kind of leggy, but I'm going to put them in the place of those, and hopefully they'll do good and get us some more tomatoes growing, because all of my tomato plants, well, I'm going to say most of my tomato plants are struggling or are dying, and I'm just going to pull them out of the ground. So we're starting all over, and this is the start. So let's get these in the ground. We've been getting rain here for the last 3 weeks every day. Not raining all day long, but it's been a shower in the morning, very heavy, or in the evening. So everything is really wet and overgrown. And while I'm grateful for the rain, because last year we didn't get any rain, it's been a struggle to keep the weeds and the grass out of the garden. So today I got out in the yard and I did about 5 hours of just weed pulling. So I'm going to show you what I've done today, and hopefully wherever you are not dealing with as much rain as I am. But I have to admit, what is in the ground is doing very well, most of it. So let's take a quick look at the garden. Okay, so here we're looking at the celery, and I cut a lot of it away today because it was yellowing and drooping, because it's extremely humid here now that all of the rain has passed. But I'm going to walk in a little closer. What is there is looking like it may rebound and give me a little something. I have some more inside this little shade tunnel right here that I'll show you, that I think is looking better than these two patches. This whole corner here was celery, and I pulled all of it up except for these two patches. We work our way around here. Here's the mullein plant. If you've been watching me since winter, this plant is struggling now. It looks good, but it's not really growing. I cut a lot of the leaves away today and used it as mulch here around the bottom, but it's not growing. That's the problem I'm having with most things. It's like everything has become stunted. Here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I planted some mustard greens in here today, 2 rows that should fill out this little corner. And then right back there, I have a very small papaya tree that I'm hoping will take and be a good focal point for this area. Here I have some more lilies. I have different types of lilies all over the yard, and these are so pretty. Honestly, I don't know what type of lily it is, the name I should say. Sometimes it's pink and sometimes it's yellow. This year it's pink, so I'm not really sure. They were given to me as a gift, and the lady who gave them to me passed, so I can't ask her. These are the elephant ears. And they're always looking really awesome. Here's a small patch of Egyptian spinach. I just cut it back, I think a week ago, and it's starting to put on little sprouts at the top. I'm trying to make it into a bush so that it'll grow a lot for us this year, mainly for the chickens. I'm not really crazy about it, but I'll put it in salads or in soups here and there. Up here you can see I have a few sunflower plants. I don't know how well you can see that because it's starting to get dark, but they're struggling. They really are. I mean, we've just been getting so much rain, but hopefully those will give me some seeds. Here is my red okra, and I just collected okra 3 days ago, and look at how big these have gotten. That's because of all the rain we're getting. And so I'm tired today, so I won't pick them today, but I'll pick them in the morning. And most of it I'll probably chop up and give to the chickens because they're so large, they probably are tough. But I've just been cutting the plant so that it'll keep making for us. Here's a patch of my tomatoes, and as I said, some things are doing good. The tomatoes, all of them, are not doing good. So I have a lot of babies started, and I'm going to start some more tonight. And all of these are coming out because they're just not, they're getting too much water and too much bug pressure. In the side garden down here, I planted some more corn today and weeded the bed. There's still some weeds in here, but tomorrow I'm going to plant probably some mustards on this side of the corn. And then here, going up this trellis, these are Alabama butter beans, and they are beginning to flower, and if we don't get much more rain, they should do okay. They're showing signs of stress on the leaves, but for the most part they're still growing, so hopefully they'll come good. Here's a pod trying to form. Oh, there's a few pods. Here's another one that's trying to form. So like I said, if the majority of our rain is over, I should get a good harvest of beans from this plant, well, from these 4 plants. Down in this bed, I have some beans growing. And these are lima beans, I believe. But I'm going to have to look at my notes because honestly I don't remember. But I think they're lima beans. But like I said, you see how this one is not doing good. We've just been getting so much rain. Here I have 2 rows of papaya trees. Now this one has gotten a little bigger since I put it in the ground, but the rest of them are struggling. I got to get in here and weed, but maybe we'll get some papayas. I don't know. It's getting kind of late in the season. These are some eggplants that resprouted from last year, and they're just starting to flower, but they're looking a little rough. They're not growing very fast, and again, that's all due to the rain. I'm going to give you a wide shot here so you can see how everything is just kind of struggling. Well, is struggling. I'm going to take you over here to see my strawberry plants. Okay, so here's my strawberry bed, and everything was starting to really perk up and look good. I was taking here, I've been taking clippings to start new plants, and there's a few flowers. There's a flower coming in there, and right there is a strawberry. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little strawberry right here, but they're not doing that great. Usually by this time of the year I have strawberries just overflowing, and they're not doing that great this year. And I think it's because we went from extremely dry to extremely wet, and now it feels like it's gonna get really hot and dry in July. So we'll see, but we'll just keep plugging along. But as you can see, everything is just so overgrown, and so I've been out here just whacking away at it. I covered the ground here with tarp, and I put this little fence here. This was going to be a composting bin, but it's not looking good. I don't like it here, I should say. So before the end of this week, I'm gonna tear it down and compost in trash cans. Maybe I can maybe I'll do a show on that to let you see my progress. I may even rework this bin and then do the bin versus the trash can, and we'll see how that works out. These canna lilies, they are not looking good. So I'm thinking about, I like them there because they protect the chickens from being seen and from being disturbed by the traffic, because we live on a very busy road. And so, but I don't like the way they look, so I'm probably going to cut them down and let them resprout. But that's a little ways away, because that's going to be a job. But it will be good composting material. See here, these are collard greens, and they have just been getting way too wet. But if you look here, it is resprouting. So tomorrow I'll get out here and cut away all the ugly, put a little feed on them, and maybe they'll survive the heat of the summer. And when it cools down, they'll take off. But they always struggle a little bit in the heat here, but the rain and the heat has just been too much for them. Okay, so this bed, if you watch the show all the time, you've seen it a lot of times. I had tomatoes growing in this bed, and like the other tomatoes, it was just too much rain and bug pressure for them. So I took them up. I took up the fencing, and I cleaned this bed out. What is left is some Egyptian spinach, which I just cut the tops off of them so it'll bush out. I have a few kale here that aren't looking good, but they're not dying. So I'm just going to keep watering and loving on them until the weather cools down enough for them to become healthy again. Okay, so here by the porch I have Malabar spinach. I grow Malabar spinach on this fence every year. This year it's not looking that great, but it's a very tough little plant. If the rain stops, and it'll rebound and get really pretty, but right now it's looking a little rough. This is a pepper plant, a bell pepper plant that came back from last year. And so far it's made one pepper. I gave it a good trim and watered it real well because it's looking a little sad now, but I think it'll come good. Here, I planted, they're so small right now, but here and here and here, those are poblano peppers. And I have, what, 6 altogether. Yeah, I have 6. So I don't know how well the camera is getting them, but hopefully they'll come strong and fill in this area here. And so I'll have poblano peppers, and I still have to put something over in this corner. The rosemary is doing very, very well. And I found some mint in that old mint bed I had, and so I stuck it in this pot. It's looking really rough because I just stuck it in this pot today, but hopefully it'll get healthy, and I'll mix some seeds in with it and make a new mint bed sometime this year. And then if we come around here, I found I'm starting moving these bricks because I'm going to use them in the garden. And I sprayed because I found a patch of termites going up the house. So now I got to go around and look at every pillar and see if I have termites everywhere, because we are prone for termites in this area. Right next to that, I have a small patch of roselle growing. I put this in the ground before the rain started, and so it's looking really good. But today, I put in two more rows of itty bitty roselle plants. But here, because of the heat, roselle usually grows really fast. So in a couple of weeks, they'll be almost big as these. And I have to cut all of that grass going all the way down. The weeds just came back with all the rain, and I had removed the tarp, and so they just took over. But that's just how it is here. Here is one of my rosella patches, and as you can see, it's flowering and making fruit. The problem is the ones that I planted back here, see back there, they're only making greens, and I think it's because it's just too late. I think it's because I planted them too close to the house, and so they're not getting enough sunlight. But I've been already picking and drying my rosella so that I can have tea and different types of drinks during the winter months. And hopefully the weather won't get too cold too fast, so I will be able to get enough fruit to last me until next year, because I do have some more plants in the backside. But real quick, I want to show you, this is one of my Cavendish banana plants. I dug them up. I had 3, and I dug them up because with the drought they were dying. Like this one died all the way back, but it's starting to resprout. It's full of little weeds, but the plant is healthy, so I'm glad about that. And then their sister is there. Hopefully I'm not bouncing y'all around too much, but the mosquitoes are bad today. I need to get in here and clean all this dead away. But you see, I have 2 pups on this side and 1 on that side. The ants got in this pot, and so I think that's why I'm seeing so much damage to the older plant. But if we look around this side, you can see a lot of that rosella is not flowering, and all of this is the same age, and I think it's because it's not enough light here. And then I still have a few okra plants. I cut these. See there, I cut them so they would start resprouting. You see here, I'm going to get another okra. And I have one down there. I need to come out here and pick that. And if we slowly move this way, these were all recut too. And they are just growing very, very well. They're flowering well. See, there's okra down in there. So this patch is going to give me a good flush of more okra. And this is a patch of my Christmas beans. They've been in the ground since before. Well, I think I put them in the ground in March. Look here. All of my beans are starting to put on flowers again. And so hopefully I will get some beans off of these. The cayenne pepper plants are starting to flower real well again. And so I'll definitely get some more peppers. Down here I have perpetual spinach. And it's looking really rough because the bugs, I'm not really sure. I think it's some kind of caterpillar of some kind getting to these. But the plant is alive. The roots are good. And so I'll just keep cutting away at the ugly leaves. The chickens don't mind. And as it cools, the leaves will start getting pretty again. But so if we move around this way, this is the garden in between the house and the chicken coop. I have some mustard. But anyway, this is some Florida mustard. Got a little of that coming up. Here I have some arugula that's doing okay. That empty spot back there was Swiss chard, and something ate the leaves off of it. A little bit more mustard. I've just planted in here some beets. A lot of little baby beets. And I had to stop because I can't remember what happened, but I didn't finish this area. Later on today I'm going to plant in some beets all in this section here. But right now I have 4 rows and they're looking okay. I think I need to cover them though because I have been noticing a lot of grasshoppers. Back here, these are some new pole beans I put in, green beans, hoping that I can get a flush of green beans before winter sets in. Normally, we don't really start getting cold until late November, early December. So these plants shouldn't take that long. And you know, we might get some beans. I'm not really sure yet, but I'm hoping. This is my passion fruit. This vine, I have 3. They were just planted this year because last winter, the storm we had in December killed it. Killed my older plants. But this is a cloudy day, so the flowers aren't really opening like they were the other day. But you see here, it is producing flowers everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Everywhere. And so it's very healthy. And if we pan this way, it goes all the way back there. This whole fence here is going to be where I keep the passion fruit, because not only is it happy here, see all the little flowers? Not only is it happy here, it's a good screen so that it keeps the chickens cool. This is one of their runs, and I'm hoping that it takes over and it'll be a perfect place to keep them cool. This bed, other than this is a Chipton pepper plant, and it's only 1 year old. And it again does good. Well, pepper plants, period, do good in the heat, and they can take quite a bit of drought. But it's starting to flower again. If you see here, we are getting peppers. And it is huge. This bed, I haven't decided what's going to go here. I think I'm going to plant cabbage, but right now I put some chicken poo in there. And I have it covered to keep it moist so it doesn't lose its moisture. And I will probably plant in it next week. This is one of my Rosa Sharon plants, and it is just doing wonderful. It is doing the best out of all of them. But it is just beautiful. Look at that. And in this little bucket here, I have 2 or 3 Jerusalem artichoke, and so they're starting to flower. They make a really cute flower that looks like a sunflower, and the plant is doing fairly good. To say everything has had to fight for its own survival this year. Here in this bed, this was my carrot bed last year. And it didn't do very well. It was the first time I got carrot root fly. I think that's what you call it. But all of the carrots came out looking horrible. Right now it just has a few old red mustard plants. And then this is a tosi plant. And nothing has been in this bed really. These are just seeds that popped up. Plants that popped up, self-seeded, and I haven't done much with this bed this year. But this, move the bean plant. This is a young big tree that will become the focal point of this area. Over the winter months, I'm going to get rid of all of these wood sides, see, because they're rotting, and I'm noticing that I'm just wasting money on wood. Every few years I have to replace them, and so hopefully I can turn this whole area into just one big bed with no sides, in-ground bed. There up against the house is another moringa tree, and it's starting to flower. The one in the back has already started producing beans, which means yay, I'll have some seeds for next year.